At the end of the day, players win you games, and it doesn't matter whether their form is good or bad if they show up when they're called upon. There's a lot of controversy surrounding Darwin Nuñez from non-Liverpool supporters as well as diehards, but today he was the hero, and this may be a match that you look back upon at the end of the season and realize just how important those 2 goals at the end were. So let's get into the details so I can explain exactly how this game went down, why I respect Brentford and Thomas Frank, and why Liverpool are going to win the Premier League. Let's start with Brentford's build-up, and as I said, very brave to try and play out of the back against Liverpool's pressure, and there were a few times that they managed to break through, catching Liverpool a few steps behind centrally, and if they had just a slightly faster player up top, they may have been able to create more space in behind and get closer to the goal to score. But as you'll see a little bit later on, anytime that they were able to break forward, Liverpool's players were fast enough to get back in time. And the goal for Brentford, at least in the first half, was to get the ball to Mbeumo so he could go 1v1 with Tsimikas. Brentford's quality allowed them to find that longer switch to the weak side where Mbeumo was waiting, and if they were able to catch Liverpool on transition, the ball went straight to the right side. I think Thomas Frank knew that the matchup would be favorable to them, and I'm sure they were happy when Tsimikas received the yellow card only 7 minutes into the game. And with 83 minutes still left to play, they would try and serve the ball to Mbeumo, knowing that Liverpool would have to be more careful on that side to not go down a man. And I think Mbeumo's a good player. I don't think he's going to stay at Brentford for too long, but without the pace to beat someone like Virgil van Dijk, it's always going to be hard to score. I think if they're going to get the ball to Mbeumo, it would have to be a little bit higher up the field, where we would just have to beat one player in order to create the space for a shot. Liverpool, however, started figuring out the press and knew that they would rather keep Brentford trying to play out. If you press too tight at first, it forces the long ball, but Liverpool wanted to bait the pass, giving the players enough space to think that they could play, and then as the ball traveled, they would then try and dispossess Brentford, and this way of pressing them allows a team to recover the ball in higher areas, being closer to the goal, and obviously making it easier to score. There were a few situations that I thought Liverpool were going to score, like when they recovered the ball and Szoboszlai hit the crossbar from distance, or when Salah almost won the ball back right at the top of the box. But this is a big risk you take against any team in the Premier League, that sometimes you can be so close to winning the ball and yet they still manage to break through the pressure. But another reason why Liverpool are so hard to beat is because even if you can break that initial pressure, Virgil van Dijk cleans everything up at the back. But it was definitely fun to watch the tactical battle and Brentford's confidence against one of the best teams in the world. And it was also fun to see Brentford not just sit in a low block, but instead push 2 players high up on the center backs, go man for man in the midfield, and then have their fullbacks ready to press Liverpool's fullbacks. It worked once or twice, forcing the longer ball and Brentford regaining possession, but here's the real difference between Liverpool and a lot of other teams around the world. Under pressure technically, their coordinated movements and passing ability is next level. Header out of the air, under pressure from Diaz to find Gakpo's chest, also under pressure, and then all of a sudden Brentford have to get behind the ball and sit in. Or a one-touch long ball from Virgil van Dijk to Konate, who can control and face forward on his first touch, the awareness from Diaz to dummy the ball for Salah checking in, back to Trent with another one-touch long ball out to Gakpo. I hope you guys understand how difficult all of this is to do under pressure and the speed of decision making for players to move into spaces before the defenders can react. And if you can't see how easy Liverpool make this look, watch this one, which I think easily could have been one of the plays of the season if only Cody Gakpo would have chipped the keeper at the end and finished the play. These details are what separates Premier League champions from second place and the rest of the table. And I think Liverpool are starting to get really close to doing this so well, but obviously they still have to work on the end product on some of these plays. But when Liverpool do get to the final third, they're so good with forward runs and movements, which allows them to create just enough space for a shot or an opportunity to score. Watch Luis Diaz's movement as Liverpool play the ball to Konate on the other side. The moment that he takes a touch forward, Diaz makes the forward run to get in behind. And in the next clip, the moment Van Dijk takes his touch forward, once again, watch how Tsimikas starts getting wider and higher up, giving just a little bit more space to McAllister in the middle, which then allows him to play a one-touch pass to Gravenberch. If Tsimikas stays, McAllister doesn't have as much space and Brentford don't get stretched out, so the space for Gravenberch is not created. Again, a touch forward and Diaz and Szoboszlai start going. When they don't get played, they reset their position, and now look at Harvey Elliott making the forward run right after the pass. Even if it doesn't work all the time, it keeps Brentford moving and stretches them out little by little. The fun part about these matches is that as well organized and set up both teams are, at some point the game starts to get stretched out. And with Liverpool and Brentford, both teams have great counter-attacking capabilities. So we saw a lot of that in the second half. 53rd minute and Liverpool break free, and look at the intensity of their players to sprint forward. Once again, the final finish in this game was missing. But respect to Brentford, they also had a lot of counter-attacking opportunities in the second half, and I think their game plan of playing it to Mbeumo like they did in the first half was smart, but you could tell that he was starting to fade with every run he was making, especially with all of the defending that Brentford had to do. They started counter-attacking more on the left side with players like Yohan Wissa and Kevin Shade, and I thought Shade did well to exploit that side and create some chances. Brentford just couldn't finish. Towards the end of the game, Liverpool started taking some more shots from outside the box, and obviously with the game more stretched out, they had enough space in the middle. Trent and Salah both hit some good strikes, but I think Brentford were okay to sit in a little deeper and let Liverpool Liverpool try their chances from further out. And while it seemed like this game was going to end in a 0-0 draw, Liverpool managed to find the opening with Nuñez scoring the goals at the end. And if you're Brentford, you must be so frustrated at knowing that you played a very good game for 90 minutes and Liverpool finally found the breakthrough in stoppage time. And so once again, probably not for the final time, when you're the better team and you have better players, you'll find that you have luck on your side more often. And I'm not saying that Liverpool got lucky. I do think they deserve to win that game in the end, because grinding these results out is what will separate them from Arsenal, Forest, City, Chelsea, and everybody else who has struggled to get over the line in a lot of their matches. But fair play to Brentford. They went toe-to-toe with Liverpool, didn't back down, and almost beat them in a lot of the areas that Liverpool are really good at. But at the end of the day, Liverpool does continue their run towards the Premier League trophy. Please don't forget to subscribe so that you can be notified every time we upload a tactical analysis video, which currently we're doing multiple times a week, especially for the big games. If there are any games that you want me to do a breakdown for, let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.